Hello everyone, it's Glenda and welcome back to my channel Creative Grandma. It's Stitch of the Week time, and this week's stitch is called the all over shell stitch. Now I'm holding it up on top of a blue board because it's all white and my table's white. So I'm going to lift it up so you can really see the design. The all over shell stitch is where you make your shell stitches across, and then we're doing single crochet and chain stitches back over, and then we're going in between those shell stitches below. It's a very beautiful stitch pattern when worked up, and I always like to do that white sample because it always seems, no matter what stitch pattern it is, when you do it in white, it just gives it a classic, elegant look. Now this stitch pattern is a multiple of 4 plus 3. So you would chain 4 again, keep chaining in multiples of 4 until you get your chain to the width you want, and then you would add 3 more chains. Now this stitch pattern is really amazing at how many different looks you can get with just what yarn you're using and what color and how you change those colors. So I can't wait to show you all the samples. So again, this is the first sample. Now this is row 2 side. The even side rows is the right side of your work, and when you start it on row 1, this is going to be the wrong side. So again, the even rows is the right side where you can really see those shell stitches. So this is the first sample done in white. My second sample I made using a multicolor. This is Red Heart Super Saver in the Mexicana. This is color number 0950. You can see that beautiful multicolored yarn, and this is available at Walmart. That's where I buy my Red Heart Super Saver. But you can see when you're using a multicolored yarn, it really takes away from the stitch definition. It's a beautiful color worked up, but you cannot really see the stitch definition, but it still makes a beautiful afghan or whichever project you want to make. So that's what the stitch looks like in the multicolor. So my third sample, I decided to use a self-striping yarn. Now I didn't get all the colors worked up in this sample, but you can see how when it changes colors, it has a beautiful look. And it all depends on what stitch pattern you're using, what yarn you're using. I was not able to get it to go from side to side in one color. If you really look at it, here's a short burst, here's a short burst, and then you get a really long burst of this pink. And then I was able to almost get this one clear across, but it's a beautiful color combination. And I used the Red Heart Super Saver stripes, and this is the retro stripes. This is color number 4971. And again, when you get those blues and greens mixed in with this, it's very, very beautiful. So again, that is my sample using a self-striping yarn. And this sample, I change colors every 2 rows. So you can see how just where you change colors and what color of yarn you're using all makes a difference on how this pattern's going to look. It's a fun pattern, it's a beautiful pattern, and there's so many different possibilities with this pattern. Now for all my samples today, I used a 4 medium worsted weight yarn along with the size I9 5.5 crochet hook, and I just thought it just was the perfect hook size for a 4 medium worsted weight yarn. So those are my 4 samples of the all over shell stitch. So now let's get started on this stitch pattern. So grab your yarn, grab your hook. Now whatever yarn you're using, just look at your yarn label and see what hook recommended size is required for the yarn you're using. And I'll meet you back here and we'll get started on the stitch pattern. So today's pattern again is Stitch of the Week number 17, the all over shell stitch. And I want to remind everyone that all my Stitch of the Week patterns are free. You can go to our website, creativegrandma.net, and I'll have a link in the description box underneath this video. You can click that link, click the banner at the top of the page that says Stitch of the Week, And then you can see all the different stitch patterns. We have well over 150 different stitch patterns on our website. You just click the name of the stitch and then you can download it right to your computer and you can print it out and follow along with the video. This is exactly what it's going to look like when you print it out. This is also going to teach you how to read instructions as you follow along with the video. So let's go ahead and get started. Again, this stitch pattern is a multiple of 4 plus 3. So we're going to chain 19, which is the multiple of 4 times 4 for 16, and then we're going to add 3 for a total of 19 chains. I already attached my yarn to my hook with a double knot, and you can use whichever method you prefer to join your yarn. You're going to yarn over, pull through the loop on your hook. This creates your first chain. The loop on your hook does not count as a chain. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Continue until you have 19 chains, and I'll be back and we'll start row 1. I'm back. I have my 19 chains, and now we're ready to begin row 1. For row 1, we're going to skip that first chain. You're going to insert into the second chain from hook and work a single crochet. Yarn over, pull through the chain. You have 2 loops. Yarn over and pull through 2 loops. That's how you do a single crochet. Insert into the next chain, work a single crochet. Now we're going to start our repeat. So again, if you're working on a larger project and you need help, just click back on the video, start where I say this is the start of the repeat, and work until I say this is the end of the repeat. So let's begin. You're going to chain 2, 1, 2. You're going to skip the next 2 chain, insert into the next chain, work a single crochet. Single crochet into the next chain. And that is the end of the repeat. Let's do it again. Chain 2, skip the next 2 chain, insert into the next chain, work a single crochet. Single crochet into the next chain. And that is the end of the repeat, and we're going to repeat that over to the end of our chain. Let's do the repeat again. Chain 2, skip the next 2 chain, insert into the next chain, work a single crochet. Single crochet into the next chain. And that is the end of the repeat, and you can see how your repeat is forming across your row. We have one more repeat to go. You're going to chain 2, skip the next 2 chain, insert into the next chain, work a single crochet. Insert into that very last chain, work a single crochet. Row 1 is finished, and this is what your work should look like. You have 5 sets of 2 single crochet and 4 chain 2 spaces across your sample. Now we're ready to begin row 2. Now rows 2 through 5 is going to be your repeat rows. So let's begin row 2. We're going to chain 3, 1, 2, and 3. You're going to turn your work. This beginning chain 3 will count as your first double crochet. We're going to work a shell stitch in this next chain 2 space. We're going to work 2 double crochet, a chain 2, and 2 double crochet in each chain 2 space across. So let's begin our repeat. I'll show you one time how to make a double crochet. You're going to yarn over, insert into the chain 2 space, underneath the chain 2 space, yarn over and pull your yarn back through. You have 3 loops, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over and pull through 2. That's how you make a double crochet. Double crochet back into that same chain 2 space. chain 2, and now we're going to work 2 more double crochet back into that same chain 2 space. 1, and 2, and that is the end of the repeat. Again, we're going to work 2 double crochet, a chain 2, and 2 double crochet in each chain 2 space across to the last 2 single crochet. So let's do it again. You're going to skip the next 2 single crochet, work 2 double crochet into this next chain 2 space, 1, 2, you're going to chain 2 and work 2 more double crochet back into that same chain 2 space, 1, and 2, and that is the end of the repeat. So we have 2 repeats to go. Skip the next 2 single crochet, work 2 double crochet into that next chain 2 space, 1, and 2. You're going to chain 2, and now we're going to work 2 more double crochet back into that same chain 2 space, 1, and 2, and that is the end of the repeat. And again, you can see we're working a shell stitch in each chain 2 space across. So we have 1 repeat to go. You're going to skip the next 2 single crochet, work 2 double crochet into that next chain 2 space, 1, and 2. You're going to chain 2, work 2 more double crochet back into that same chain 2 space, 1, and 2, and that is the end of the repeat. So if you're working on a wider project, maybe an afghan, then you would continue the repeat of working 1 shell stitch in each chain 2 space across until you get to the last 2 stitches. So now to finish row 2, we're going to skip this next single crochet and we're going to double crochet into this last single crochet stitch. Yarn over, skip the next single crochet, insert into the last single crochet stitch, work a double crochet. Row 2 is finished. You're going to have that beginning chain 3. You should have 4 shell stitches across and you're ending with a double crochet into your last stitch. So now we're ready to begin row 3. Row 3, we're going to start with a chain 4, 1, 2, 3, and 4. You're going to turn your work. Now this beginning chain 4, the first 2 chains is going to count as the first double crochet, and then the other 2 is a chain 2 space. We're going to start our repeat right away. We're going to skip this first stitch, and then we're going to skip the next 2 double crochet, and we're going to be working into the chain 2 spaces of each shell across. So let's start the repeat. Again, we're going to skip these first 3 stitches into the first chain 2 space, work 2 single crochet, 1 and 2. You're going to chain 2, and that is the end of the repeat. Let's do it again. You're going to work 2 single crochet into the next chain 2 space, so you're skipping all the stitches in between, insert into the next chain 2 space, work 2 single crochet, 1 and 2. You're going to chain 2, And that is the end of the repeat. And we're going to repeat that across to within the last chain 2 space. So we're working over to it but not in it. So we have 1 repeat to go. Again, you're going to skip all those stitches. You're going to go right over to the next chain 2 space of the next shell, insert into the chain 2 space, work 2 single crochet, 1 and 2. You're going to chain 2. And now you can see we're over to our last chain 2 space right here in the last shell. So to end the row, we're going to work 2 single crochet into this last chain 2 space. Now again, if you're working on a wider project, you would just continue this repeat until you get over to your last shell or this last chain 2 space. So we're going to end the row by skipping all these stitches, insert into that last chain 2 space of that last shell, work 2 single crochet, 1 and 2. You're going to chain 2, 1, 2. We're going to skip these next 2 double crochet, and now we're going to double crochet into the second chain of our turning chain. So count up 1, 2, yarn over, insert into that second chain, work a double crochet. And that is how you end row 3, and row 3 is finished. So you're going to have this opening over here with your beginning chain 4. You're going to have 2 single crochet into the next chain 2 space, and then you chain 2, 2 single crochet into the next chain 2 space, chain 2, 2 single crochet into the next chain 2 space. You repeated that over to the end, and you finished the row by working 2 single crochet into the last shell, chaining 2, and working a double crochet into the second chain of that turning chain. And this is what your work should look like so far. So now we're going to go ahead and start row 4. Row 4, you're going to chain 3, 1, 2, and 3. You're going to turn your work. Now we're going to work 2 double crochet right into this first chain 2 space right at the beginning of the row, yarn over, insert right into that chain 2 space, work 2 double crochet, 1 and 2. Now we're going to begin our repeat, and we're going to be working our shell stitch of 2 double crochet, chain 2, 2 double crochet in each chain 2 space across until you get to these last 2 single crochet. So we're working it over to this point here. So let's go ahead and begin the repeat. Yarn over, you're going to skip the next 2 single crochet, insert into the next chain 2 space, work 2 double crochet, 1 and 2. You're going to chain 2, back into the same chain 2 space, work 2 more double crochet, 1 and 2. So when you look at your work, you're going to notice that this shell stitch will be in between the shell stitches previously worked 2 rows below. So let's continue across. You're going to skip the next 2 single crochet, work your shell stitch of 2 double crochet into that next chain 2 space, 1 and 2. You're going to chain 2 and then back into that same chain 2 space, work 2 more double crochet, 1 and 2. And that is the end of the repeat. And again, we're going to work that in each chain 2 space until we get to the last 2 single crochet across. So you can see we have one more repeat to go. Yarn over, skip the next 2 single crochet, insert into the next chain 2 space, work 2 double crochet. 1 and 2. You're going to chain 2, yarn over, insert back into that same chain 2 space, work 2 more double crochet. 1 and 2. And again, you can see 2 double crochet, a chain 2, and 2 double crochet in each chain 2 space across until you get to the last 2 single crochet stitches. So to end the row, we're going to skip the next 2 single crochet, and we're going to work 2 double crochet into this ending space. Yarn over, skip the next 2 single crochet, insert into that ending chain space, work 2 double crochet. 1 and 2. We're going to work 1 double crochet into the second chain of the turning chain. So yarn over, count up 1, 2, you're going right into that second chain, work a double crochet. So row 4 is finished, and now we're going to start 5. We're going to chain 1, and you're going to turn your work. We're going to skip the beginning chain 1, insert into the very first stitch, and I'm going under both of those top 2 loops, work a single crochet. Single crochet into the next stitch. You're going to chain 2, 1, 2, and now we're ready to start our repeat. We're going to be working into the chain 2 spaces of each shell stitch across. So let's begin the repeat. You're going to skip all the stitches from where you're at now until you get to the first chain 2 space of the next shell. Insert into the chain 2 space, work 2 single crochet. 1 and 2. You're going to chain 2. 1, 2, and that is the end of the repeat. Find your next chain 2 space of the next shell. You're skipping all these stitches, and again, we're only working in the chain 2 space. Insert into the chain 2 space, work 2 single crochet. 1 and 2. You're going to chain 2. 1 and 2, and that is the end of the repeat. So we're going to work this across to our last chain 2 space. So I'm already there. This is a pretty small sample. So we're over to our last shell stitch. So we're going to go ahead and work 2 single crochet into the chain 2 space of that last shell. 1 and 2. We're going to chain 2, 1, 2. We're going to skip the next 3 stitches, 1, 2, 3, into the next stitch, going under both of those top 2 loops, work a single crochet. Then we're going to end the row by working a single crochet into the second chain of the turning chain. So count up 1, 2, insert into the second chain, work a single crochet. And that is the end of row 5. To continue working on this pattern, you're going to repeat rows 2 through 5 as your repeat rows to form this pattern. So if you need help, just click back on the video. So again, all kinds of possibilities with this stitch. If you keep on working and repeating rows 2 through 5, this is what it's going to look like. I think the white is absolutely beautiful, very classic look. And you could finish this by maybe adding fringe in each one of these chain 2 spaces. If you're making an afghan, that would be very pretty, or choose whichever border you prefer. Again, so many different possibilities with multicolors, with changing colors every 2 rows, and then even using a self-striping yarn. So I hope you enjoyed this crochet tutorial today. If you enjoyed this video, please hit the like button. Make sure you subscribe so you don't miss any of the crochet fun here at Creative Grandma's channel. So until next time, happy crocheting, everyone.